Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Today's topic, a good one for us today because we've been feeling a lot of.
We've been resisting doing this one.
No, today's topic is 3 steps for overcoming resistance to change.
Yes, indeed. So there are a lot of versions of resistance, a lot of types of resistance, of course, and we won't go into all of them today. The main, we'll touch on a couple of them, but the main context.
It seems pretty overwhelming to see, but resistance to change, all of change.
So, well, the main context we're going to speak about today regarding resistance is resistance to taking the action you know you need to take in order to create whatever change you want to experience in your life. So, for example, for some people, you know that you need to do certain exercises or take certain actions to become happier, calmer, fitter, wealthier, whatever it is. So, and what in this particular context is where you start off fine. People buy packages to gyms, a year-long or 6-month package, and they start, and it's, they're enthusiastic, they manage to do it, and then they reach a certain point, and then they stop for whatever reason, and there are various reasons.
That usually happens in February.
Yes, notoriously, yes. So, or, people buy self-development things, a book or a course or whatever. Absolutely. And again, they start off great, and then they stop for whatever reason. And so we're going to talk about today, first of all, the reason you stop, and then secondly, how to overcome that. So the reason, in this context, the reason you find yourself not moving forward with the action is because the subconscious is designed to keep us safe. And as far as the subconscious is concerned, safe means the same. So no matter how much you consciously are not happy with what you have and you want something different, the subconscious doesn't use logical reason, and it doesn't care about what you like. It's about keeping you alive, and you're still alive now. So the way because it doesn't use logic and reason, the way it's designed is to keep things the same so that you continue to stay alive. So when you get close to changing, when you get close to significant change, your subconscious will very often do whatever it takes to prevent you from making that change because it sees it as a risk. So, for example, let's say you're going to the gym and you're getting healthier. Now, there'll be a tipping point or a turning point where you change fundamentally. So it changes your physiology to a degree where there's you get beyond a certain point. As you approach that point, you may find you don't feel like it anymore. You get ill, you get tired, you get injured. You may find that you get distracted by something else. And what's happening in the background is your subconscious is referring to whatever evidence it holds that you're getting too close to being different to where you have been and you've been able to stay alive. It's then prompting your brain to trigger your organs to produce chemicals that are creating sensations, emotions, feelings that are affecting your judgment, that are affecting your how you see yourself, and how, you may start to think, it's not working, and so all of that is being affected by the subconscious trying to keep you safe. Now, the first step 1 to overcoming this is to recognize the resistance as progress, not as a hindrance. So instead of seeing it as a reason to give up or a reason to stop, if you change your perception, first of all, and go, instead of going, I'm too tired, I don't feel like it, this isn't working, this will never work, all of those kind of things, stop and recognize the resistance as a sign that you're getting close to change, because that's why the resistance is there.
I think that a lot of people experience resistance naturally when they're doing this work, you know, for the reasons that we just
self-development.
And really I think we're really honing in on the self-development world, right? The self-development work is what we're talking about, the resistance to changing up ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that resistance, I know from personal experience, that feeling that resistance, work, I'm a failure, I'm the only person that this doesn't work with. So you go into that feeling, and we have this sense that is the 800-pound gorilla. It's this negative force that's out there that's holding me back from making change. So that's the thing that I think that we're really trying to make this point about resistance and changing your perspective on resistance and seeing resistance as a positive thing as opposed to a negative thing.
Right.
So seeing resistance as a necessary force, nothing. You know, I found this quote recently from Neville Goddard, and it was I'm probably going to mess it up, but everything needs resistance to move. And I as I thought about that for just a second, I'm like, is that really true?
Yeah, we both kind of went,
like,
is
really?
that actually true? Does everything
need
resistance?
I challenge you to come up with something that doesn't have, or that doesn't need resistance to actually move.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear an example of that. But but
so as far as we know, everything needs resistance to move.
You've got to have, we're pushing against gravity in order to be able to move. So resistance is part of movement. So if we can restate that, if we can reframe resistance for ourselves and see it as necessary, positive, and to be expected, in order for movement to happen, resistance is going to be there.
And in fact, get excited about it and congratulate yourself on it. Because by doing that, number one, it's going to help you to overcome it. And number two, it will keep the stress chemicals down, which means you'll keep your prefrontal cortex online, which means you'll be able to, take action and make decisions and strategize and everything far more effectively. And in fact, my sister and my son and I used to congratulate each other whenever anything went wrong. So, we were working on ourselves, making changes to ourselves, and then something would, all hell would break loose in some way or another. We'd lose a wallet or, get ill or whatever. And we go, well done, great job. It means you're coming close. So that's step one. Now, step two is also very important. So step one, change your perception of it. Recognize any resistance from I'm tired, I'm too tired, to it doesn't work, to, I'll do it later, and later never comes. Any kind of resistance, recognize it in the first instance as progress, as a sign that you are close to change, significant change. The second step is hello again. We got cut off there. We think maybe there was an issue with the internet. So where we were up to? We were up to step 3, right?
I think our internet was in the spirit of resisting us getting through
Yes. That was an example of resistance. So step 3 is gently do it anyway. Gently move forward anyway.
Yeah.
So step 1, So to recap, step one, change your perception of what resistance is. So I'll rephrase that. Step one is recognize the resistance as a sign of progress instead of hindrance. Step two is change your state and your approach to it. So approach it in a calm, positive way, feeling good about it. And then step three is gently do it anyway. So everything we've said up to this point, if you've just joined us now on Facebook Live, we had an issue with the internet and you'll need to watch the other video for the foundation of all of that.
We'll get it edited and piece it back together. You can watch it later.
Yes. All right. So I think that's the main, was that the main points that we were going to make?
Yeah.
I think steps.
Yeah, that the point of it is to change. I think the major point is to change attitude about it.
Yeah. And remember that quote by Neville Goddard, which is resistance. Everything needs resistance in order to move.
Now, I know that as our feed went down, our internet went down, I did end up losing a question that Sue had, and I'm going to try to paraphrase it, but I know that it was a question that was a good one, and it was regarding resistance around not even knowing what to do.
Okay, so resistance to knowing what to do?
Yeah, and Sue, if you're able to get that question back up, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it was the resistance of not knowing how to move forward because you're not even sure what to do or how that would feel.
Okay. All right. So in that case, and this was actually, we were going to touch briefly on the second type of resistance. So what we've been talking about up to now was resistance to taking action in self-development to improve yourself. I think Sue's just
more like it is resistance or just not knowing how to be what you want to be.
How to be what you want to be. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. So the first and most important thing is to get into a calm, happy state. So when you are stressed, when you're thinking, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how I want to be, or whatever that is, your prefrontal cortex is offline, so you're not going to be able to work it out, or it's going to be much more difficult to work it out. So the first step is to get into a good state, do whatever it takes to do that. And then when you're feeling good, that's when to ask your questions. What would it, what do I want? How do I want to feel? And most of us want to feel happy, safe, excited, maybe, love, or peace, all of that kind of thing. And then focus on that feeling and notice any resistance that comes up to that. And it'll come probably in the form of doubts, thoughts, oh, well, that will never happen, but what about this? Or you may find your mind goes off on a tangent. And then this type of resistance, you would ask yourself, what's the worst thing about whatever I'm thinking about? So let's say I think, oh, I want to be happy and in love. And let's say the thought comes, nobody's going to love me. Good. Now you think, how do I know nobody's going to love me? Oh, because I'm worthless and because of this, that, and the other. How does that feel? And then you go to your childhood. Where was my earliest memory of feeling that? Where did I learn that? Change those childhood memories to the opposite, positive and empowering. Practice them, then come back and ask yourself again. So now, this is what I want. How does it feel? And just keep doing that until it's very clear that that is, that's where you're headed.
Yeah.
So, and then when you get to the point where, okay, so now I need to practice these new memories, or I need to practice the ESC exercises, and you don't feel like doing that, you have the resistance to that, that's when you go, okay, so the fact that I'm feeling resistance means I'm getting close to change, and my subconscious is trying to prevent me from changing, and then approach it with a change of state. So I'm just going to do it anyway. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't, nobody's looking at me, and it doesn't take much time at all. And then do it anyway.
Yep. And
over to you.
Peter made a comment that I think, fits along with what we were saying. Resistance makes you strong. It's like weightlifting.
Exactly. Yes, it's another great analogy. When you lift weights, you don't sort of go to the next level of, okay, so this weight is a little bit heavier, and go, yeah, no, I can't lift it. You go, okay, all right, so I need to maybe go back a little bit, or try, work a little bit harder. So
in the physical world, when we're doing things where we're dealing with physical resistance, we're used to that. It yes. feels natural. We expect those kind of things, and we think it's normal. Right. I should expect resistance in this right. situation.
We don't just give up.
When we are doing work on ourselves, when we're trying to change up ourselves, and we encounter just the least amount of resistance, we're ready to give up.
Right.
We're ready to, or the tendency is there for that.
Yeah.
But if you know that it's going to happen, you expect resistance, and see it as a good sign.
Yes.
See it as a sign that you're on the right track. Then you know that it's just part of the process, that growth is actually happening.
Exactly. And then again, instead of forcing it or fighting it, gently change your state, approach it from that point of view, and gently move forward. Do it anyway.
Right.
All right. Very good.
I think
For more information
yes.
on all of that, see our website, subconscious-reprogramming.com. And we have a free online mini course that you can take. You can do all of this yourself.
Absolutely.
We have a DIY course that's free of charge, doesn't cost anything, and you can go through it and go at your own pace and learn how to do this yourself, gain control of your own emotions and your own experience in life.
And I think that's everything. So,
and have a wonderful Christmas and New Year for those of you celebrating, because we won't see them again until...
Absolutely.
We'll see you before the New Year, but Christmas.
Very good. We'll see you all next week. Bye for now.